AM dial. And the phone number here, if you'd like to call in, is 254 773 1400. 773 1400. Feel free to call in and give us your thoughts, complaints, comments, whatever you want to do, but just keep it civil. I am not into vulgarity and things like that, so if you want to use a bunch of vulgar words, we got a switch on this telephone that we can just punch. So just keep it civil, but we'll sure visit with you about whatever you want to talk about. There are so many things to talk about today in the news that you kind of get lost in the fog. I do. There's a lot of things going on. But with all the bad things to talk about, I would like to give one shout out, amen, whatever you want to call it, to the Ellison Eagles. I'm not even sure where the Ellison High School is. I think it may be around Waco somewhere, but I was listening to KCEN radio last night or yesterday evening late, and they were reading a list of the ROTC cadets at Ellison High School. And after they read the list of ROTC cadets, they played the national anthem sung by the Ellison High School choir, I guess is what it was, but just did a very, very fine job. And I just really do appreciate them doing that, because you're seeing so many high schools now that they're not very patriotic. We're even seeing some high schools and universities not allowing the ROTC program on their campus. And that's very sad to me, because ROTC, much like West Point, produces our future leaders. And look at the killings down in was it Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where the 19-year-old kid killed 18, whatever it was, he killed 18 people, whatever it was. Who were the students that helped save other students? How many of them were in the ROTC program? So we need to encourage ROTC programs and programs like that, not discourage it. We need more of them, not fewer. So I'm just wanting to say thank you, Ellison Eagles, wherever you are. We just need more of you. Okay, there's an awful lot to talk about today. I watch Fox News quite a bit. I watch other channels too, but if I see a CNN channel or MSNBC channel, it takes me about 3 minutes to get sick of my stomach and change the channel, because those people, truth means nothing. Doesn't mean anything to them. Like Dianne Feinstein, fighting the Kavanaugh nomination for Supreme Court. She has mysteriously found this anonymous letter from 35 years ago or whatever it was.
No, the letter she got in July, the latter part of July.
Yeah, but it was an instance supposedly happened.
The situation happened 35 years ago.
35 years
when
ago.
When he was in high school.
And I think we got a caller. Yes, caller, go ahead. Yes, sir. Oh. Yeah, I didn't know where they were from. I didn't catch that, but I just sure did appreciate their patriotism there, I guess you'd call it. Well, I would hope so, but if you remember now, it wasn't very long ago that the some of the Killeen high school students marched down the highway protesting the Second Amendment. Of course, that was sponsored. That was sponsored by the Democrat Party and the NAACP, which ought to tell us something. It does to me. And that anyone might get the impression that this show is dedicated to overthrowing the Democrat Party, and that's not what this show is all about. But what this show is about is telling the truth and pointing out what is truth as opposed to political correctness. So anyway.
Isn't that just a pretty name for communism? I mean, I really think we should no longer use socialism and progressive. We should just call it what it is.
Well, and keep in mind, I could connect with kindergarten age students, children, if I gave all of them a Hershey candy bar or something. I could connect with them, and that's the same thing that O'Rourke is doing. He's promising things free, and sure, he's connecting with people that want things free. He forgets to mention a thing called freedom and liberty and saving the republic in which we live and things like that. But sure, he's connecting with people that want something free. Yeah. Yeah, and I keep reminding people that's why the folks in Venezuela are eating the animals in the zoo, because they can't get anything to eat. You know, and that's where we want to go. That's where Beta O'Rourke wants to go. That's where Dianne Feinstein wants to go, and Maxine Waters and Keith Ellison, the #2 man in the Democrat National Convention. That's where they want to go. They want to follow Venezuela. Are we that stupid? Oh, come on. How do you?
Does
Well,
that fall under the other white meat?
yeah, and you could always. Well, and you could fall back on a boa constrictor or a few things like that. So you're not a candidate for socialist programs? Is that what you're trying to say?
He shines the lights on the pestilence.
Well, and let me come up with a story. I'm full of stories, but they're all true. My first business partner taught me something, and I have used it all of my life. I found a piece of property I could buy, and I didn't have a dime. I was poor as a church house mouse. Anyway, I went to this dairyman in Navasota. His name was J.D. Moody. Now, J.D. is someone who quit school in the 9th grade so he could deliver newspapers on horseback in Navasota. He died a multi-millionaire. At any rate, I went to him and told him about this property I could buy. I said, how could I borrow the money to buy that property? He said, "I'll tell you how you buy that old property." He said, "You take this checkbook and you fill it out and you sign J.D. Moody and then put your name under it and it'll go through the bank." I like to fainted. I like to had a heart flutter. But at any rate, he said, "Now let me tell you what we're going to do, Con." He said, "When you sell them old cows, we're going to split the profit 50-50. When you sell that old hay, we're going to split the profit 50-50. When you sell that old land, I get 2/3 of the money, of the profit, and you get 1/3. He said, "You know why that is?" I didn't care, but I said, "No, why?" He said, "'Cause I got the damn money." I said, "Okay." He said, "Now you remember this all the rest of your life." And it was so simple that most people can't get it. He said, "You remember the rest of your life, you're better off with part of something than all of nothing." Well, I got 20,000, he got 40,000, but that 20,000 was a godsend to me. It was a lot of money to me at that time. But now, see, we've got Donald Trump. I do not agree with 100% of everything he says, but I'm not going to throw away the 90% good because of the 10% I may not like. Because I know I'm better off with part of something than all or nothing. But is that, well, he's a human. Well, I will never forget when Newt Gingrich was in the primary running for the nomination in the presidential primary. There was a there was a this is a long time ago, but anyway, there was a group that put out a film criticizing Newt Gingrich, and they were cussing him till the dogs wouldn't bark at him. And one of their problems was they said, well, back in 1984, whenever it was, said that dirty dog was only 85% conservative. And I thought to myself, you're going to abandon the 85% candidate in favor of the 15% candidate? What's wrong with you? You know, they did not understand the concept that you're better off with part of something than all or nothing. Well, and that's my point. Look at labor unions. I was in Montana when Anaconda, which was the best paying jobs in Montana, their contract ended, the union contract. And Arco, who owned the Anaconda smelter, went to the union and they said, now if you go on strike, we're going to close this plant. And they were making, I don't know, $18 an hour, something like that. And they were wanting a 50 cent an hour raise, whatever it was. And the unions there said, oh, hell no, we're going on strike. And they went on strike. And Arco called up Cleveland Wrecking. They came in with gigantic hydraulic shears. They cut down every building on that plant and turned it into just like where the buffaloes used to roam. Now, the union was, boy, they really won that fight. They lost $18 an hour trying to get 50-cent raise. You know, idiots. it, No, and that doesn't mean you're going to vote for Beto O'Rourke. It just it just means you like to hear Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. You know.
Well,
It,
I yeah.
well, I
But that's what gives us our choice. We can make choices whether we go and buy a new record, a new copy of the record if we lost one, or we just keep it in our memory. But I can tell you that since all these Hollywood people have decided to voice their political views, I sure have been a lot more choosy about what movies that I pay for and I go see. Well, and I love him. Don't get me wrong. I love his music.
but
No, no. And I was right. And I was raised in San Antonio. I was raised in Flora's country store as a small child. And so he was always there and I was around him all the time. So no, I'm not either. And I've always known he was liberal, but I don't appreciate him using his power, his clout, whatever you want to say.
but
To
let's face reality. Let's face what makes us free in this country, and let's try to preserve that freedom and that liberty. And Willie can vote for whoever he wants to vote for. That's his right. And I would die to protect his right to vote for O'Rourke if that's what he wants to do. But don't tell me to vote for O'Rourke because I got a little bit more sense than that. I know what programs O'Rourke wants to do. And if he is elected, he will help end the America that we live in. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, well, I think that I will listen to Willie's music, but I will not let him give me advice of what to do politically. Uh, David, our man here, Eric, is telling me that we have got to pay a few bills around here. So, hey,
glad you
I
called.
appreciate your call. Don't lose the phone number, David.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you now. That, David. Oh, big balls in town. That's old Bob talking about some of that dancing music up there. We're back on the air with the Common Sense with Conn show, and I think we got a caller on the telephone here. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Conn. This is AC.
Yes, sir.
I debated whether to call or not today, but David's phone call inspired me. I always enjoy hearing David on the radio.
You bet. He's a good common sense kind of a caller.
Well, he's got
radio
institutional. Man. He's got institutional knowledge, being a radio news / entertainer, and it's helpful to hear some of these old. I've forgotten about Kinky and all that bunch, silly, But the main reason I wanted to call, I wanted to remind your listeners, we've only got 3 weeks left for those that haven't registered. Bless their hearts. We need the vote.
You better believe it.
And just talking the fight, that's good, but let's vote. And you can't vote and you don't register. And the 9th of October is it. So we got 3 weeks and 2 days. So
well, we've been airing all those deadlines every show, and then I've been placing them several times a week on the Facebook page.
Okay,
and that's great.
Where did they go to register, AC?
Well, they can go to the Republican headquarters. They can go to the county clerk's office.
They can do it by mail.
Yeah, you get the form. You can do it by mail. But that's the most important date right now, October the 9th. That early voting and mail in, all that stuff. You get off your couch and go vote. Early voting or at the voting place or whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, I've been hearing competent sources that you might qualify for top yard sign putter-outer or whatever the title is. How many yard signs have you actually distributed and put out, Conn?
I think about 70.
And AC, I gave out so many, I actually pulled mine up in my yard and gave it away, so I need some more.
Well, I have been led to believe as of this morning, about 10:45, that they can pick up some at HP Audio there at H and 35, right next to where the old headquarters was for years and years there. It's 723 South General Bruce Drive. David Cotton's got. They're the different kind. They're the rack with the bag type that you slip over. I don't like them as much as a standard, but a yard sign's a yard sign right now, and we need to get them out.
Well, don't they also have some in Belton, AC?
McQuarrie Bookstore is supposed to have. They had 30 or 40 over there at one time. They got some Carter signs also, and that's critical. That's critical race too. Now Elwood made some on his own, but he had to charge for them. You can't expect him to spend thousands of dollars, on his own. And I heard he might be getting some more in middle of this coming week. Wednesday or Thursday, but you'd have to get that from him. I can't speak for him.
But the main thing is, AC, our message to the public today is get involved. Go vote. Go register to vote. Go vote. Put up a yard sign. This is critical, folks. We have got to keep the Republicans in office.
Yeah. Well, Ben Franklin said it best of all. He said, "It's a constitutional republic, madam, if you can keep it."
Yeah.
And there's one way to keep it, and that's to keep Ted Cruz, John Carter, our governor, and the likes in office. They've got our best interest at heart, and they're working for us. And that's what Ted Cruz is doing right now. He's up there trying to get another Supreme Court justice in, and you know what the other side's doing in that fight.
I have a question about that. How is it that Beto is up there in New York collecting funds and making the rounds and all that stuff for a run for the Texas Senate? That just is so upsetting.
There's another old Texas saying, when you want to go duck hunting, you go where the ducks are, and that's where the money is, and that's where the liberals are, and you put those two together, and that's where you go ask for funds. And he's saying he doesn't receive PAC money, and that's just a blatant falsehood. They're getting it to him. They're just spreading it out and putting in a bunch of names in there. I know how they play that game. I've said my piece and I've had my turn. I appreciate your time, Conn. I always do. And y'all keep up the good work. You and Tina are well received. You're well received. I got a question for somebody. If anybody else out there listening agrees with me, I really, you started your show off first day one of your show a couple of years ago, and started off playing the national anthem. How about the Pledge of Allegiance? You know, they're taking it out of our schools. Let's give them back once a week. You can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anybody out there who agrees with me? Call in.
Well,
let us know.
And let me say now, who was it suggested that I start off with that lady singing the national anthem? You remember who that was, AC?
I think that was your wife, but I certainly,
no,
I supported her 100%.
Yeah, well, that was one of the best suggestions that you ever gave me.
Well, it's hard for me not to stand up, and if I'm out working, take my hat off. And every once in a while, still, from the time I was 7, 8, and 9 during World War II, big old tears come to my eyes.
Yep. Well, and what? Well, I better shut up. But I have a suggestion of what we ought to do with those folks that kneel and will not stand for the flag or the national anthem.
Well, I disagree with them 100%. I'll fight for their right to act like fools, but that's what they're doing.
Well,
they're showing disrespect. You know, the people that I think about, being born in '36, and when the boys started coming home, you know, I was 8 years old, World War II. Those boys that didn't, they thought this country was worth dying for.
Yes.
And when you kneel during that anthem and refuse to pledge allegiance to the flag, then you're showing disrespect to people that died for your right to act like a fool.
Well, exactly, and that's why, you know, I think a good swift kick in the, well, shut up, Conn. But don't get me started on what I think about them folks. But
thank you for your time. I'm going to get on and let somebody else call in. I enjoy your callers.
Appreciate your call,
yeah,
AC.
Bye-bye.
Thank you now. Okay, we're back on the air, folks. If y'all have something to say, well, the phone number here is 773-1400. 773-1400. Y'all call in if you got something to talk about, and we'll talk to you.
I was wondering, did you ever get a chance to see the Life, Liberty, and Levin show from this last Sunday night with John Voight?
I did not, but John Voight is one of my favorite people in Hollywood, and very, very unusual.
Yeah, he's a conservative now.
Yeah,
and well-spoken.
Well, he is, and he don't mind standing up for what he believes in, and that's
in a calm way.
Yeah, and you know, look at who has him surrounded in Hollywood. I mean, I don't know how he ever gets a part in Hollywood.
Well, he says there's enough conservatives out there. If he really wanted to work, he could find some work. But I thought it was a really good show because it talked about his beginnings, his father, and how he was the Jewish people and why he's so aligned with Israel, and et cetera, et cetera. But one of the remarks that he made, there's two remarks that stood out to me very strongly, which I never knew. And I thought, you know, I was a follower of the Vietnam War to some degree, you know, it was of my period. And he said, you know, we had the Vietnam War won. We had it won. And because we had 3 network channels, the American people saw these people protesting in the street, me being one of them, he said, which I regret and feel I need to pay back all the time for, you know, his misguided decisions to be there, that the government caved and pulled him out, and we walked away, and like, I think he said like 2 million people died in Cambodia, and et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, yeah.
And he felt so responsible for those deaths.
Well,
and he said we didn't come home for fanfare. We didn't do any of that. We should have stayed. We should have won it. And now we have the same social makeup, the same communist makeup and money and stuff, organizing groups of people now to be shown on TV, to have power over our government, and it's a cycle, and it's cycling again.
Well,
it's
and
just stronger.
if you think socialism and communism is so great, referring to what he was talking about, go see a movie called The Killing Fields, or read the book called The Killing Fields. That's about when the communists took over in Cambodia. They took everyone that could read and write, all the school teachers, anyone who was educated. They took them out in the field and cut their head off, or put a plastic bag over their head and suffocated them, or just shot them in the back of the head. 2 million of them. Now, if you think socialism and communism is so great, maybe you'd like to volunteer to go over there and participate in the killing field.
Well, they talk about how that. I guess when those of us who are a little older, we're 40 and above or whatever, we look back and we're like, why does the American people not get this? Well, when 9/11, they were going back through in the reflection, this last week. They said, if you're like, I forgot what the age was, but anyway, but it was like, that was just 17 years ago.
Well,
and like, you have no idea this happened. It's not real to you.
I can answer that question. You know why the American people didn't get it? For the same reason they don't get it now. Because we have stopped being human beings with a brain, and we started being sheep.
Exactly.
Just like I was talking about our cows we got. If a cougar walks across or something that spooks them, they all stampede, they all run. Why do they run? That one's running because the one next to them is running. That's the way the sheep are. Sheep will stampede because they're sheep.
And well,
now we people in America are tending to do the same thing, and it disturbs me because so many of the principles that keep us free are real simple principles. If you got a half a brain, think about it. But we are like sheep. When the Democrats spook, we spook. When the Democrats come out with some emotional, heart-wrenching story about separating children at the border, then we all spook and we all stampede and we all cuss Donald Trump because some moron in Hollywood
wrote some omitted or fake something. But this all for me, it brings it back to how does this get started? And it's like the title, if it's in Title I where they get free lunches and free breakfast and all that, the Waco and independent school districts doing that across the board for every child. Well, isn't that the way you teach them to be sheep?
Yeah.
Nobody's responsible. The parents can't feed them. The parents can't school them. The parents can't give them guidance, can't give them moral ethics. So the school district's going to do everything. That's the way you create sheep.
Well, and how many people out here ask the question, where'd the school district get the money? and why are they doing this? Okay, I think we got a break coming up.
And then we got a caller.
Caller, hang on. We're going to a break. Be back in just a minute. Okay, here we are back on the air with the Common Sense with Conn call-in talk show. So, like to hear that old Bob Wills music, but if y'all got something to talk about, the phone number here is 773-1400.
And we got a caller
And
now.
we got a caller already. So, yes, caller, go ahead.
Hey, there's your old buddy,
Yeah,
Red.
what in the world are you doing?
I'm sitting here with a broke heel.
Broke who?
My heel is broken.
Oh, what'd you do that for?
Well, 'cause I could.
Oh.
No, just kidding. No, I did something stupid and broke my heel. But anyway, now the guy, Bethel O'Rourke, the only reason I believe Willie Nelson's pushing for him is because he's about to run out of weed and he wants to make sure his next shipment gets up here.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I just figured I'd throw that in there for you. But another thing was, my veterinarian is the individual that cured zoonosis in canines during the Vietnam War. And another veterinarian, female that I knew when I lived over there in the Brownstone, she told me that them dogs' reward for getting shot, repaired, and going out and protecting our guys, when it was all over and they sending everybody back, she had put all these dogs down. And she said she'd never practice veterinary medicine again because of them dogs' reward for fighting and dying and guiding our guys and getting shot, repaired, and sent back out. When it come time to go home, they didn't get to come home. They got put to sleep.
Yeah, you know, that. Whatever happened.
I mean, that's just what that one person told me. But I never have asked my veterinary about it either.
But I don't doubt that because of the story of Sergeant Reckless.
Oh, the horse.
Of who?
Sergeant Reckless.
There was a horse.
There was a horse. That horse.
Fantastic story.
That horse was in Korea, and that horse carried rocket launchers, I think it was, up this mountain to our troops, and that horse made numerous trips carrying rockets to supply our troops.
Shot up.
All being shot.
OTA, huh?
Yeah, and
she carried troops down.
Yeah, that's a true story.
Yeah, she carried the troops back down, the wounded ones, and then carried the ammo back up. And
Yeah,
she did
and-
that for hours and hours and hours, and she was bleeding.
Oh, yeah.
Then when the war ended, they left that horse over there.
No, she came home. She came to the United States.
Well, she came to the United States because some retired military officer, I forgot who it was, went over there and bought that horse and brought that horse back to the United States. But the U.S. Army left that horse over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cold-blooded.
That was cold-blooded. Now, they have since built a statue to that horse, and she was promoted to the rank of sergeant
In the Marines.
in the Marine Corps, and there is now a statue of that horse at Camp Lejeune, is it?
I don't
Yeah.
remember, but
Somewhere up there,
yeah.
but
I think it's in Lejeune.
And they bred her one, so she's got a foal somewhere.
they originally left that horse over there. You know,
Yeah.
so much for loyalty.
But she ate with the men. She
Yeah,
ate their
that's
food.
what I
She was
mean.
loose in the camp, and nobody was leading her. She went up and down while all the the fighting was going on, and she never ran. And she belonged originally to a little Korean farmer.
But anyway, read the story about Sergeant Reckless. But anyway, so much for animals. But
Korean or Vietnam, I don't remember.
sometimes we're not any more loyal to people than we are to animals. And I don't know.
Well,
so much for all that, I guess. But
well, people turn on you. Canines and hay burners don't.
well,
That's a fact.
that's why the more I see of people, the better I like cows. Cows
Well,
and
I know
dogs.
they taste great.
Yeah,
You cook 'em.
there you go. Well, we appreciate your phone call out there, and you be careful.
Oh, I will. I'll be a lot more careful after my heel. Oh, don't worry. Oso's down, too. He got some fool come running around the corner and hit him with a pickup truck and broke his left front leg.
Oh gosh.
Uh-oh.
I just took him to my vet, the one that I told you about, that did the cured zoonosis stuff in canines, and he fixed him right up, original, and this was the second trip. So I'm figuring, maybe one more trip and also be up. By then, I'll probably be up too.
Okay.
We're gonna try and make it, try to see if I get to walk in the Christmas parade this year just for the heck of it.
There you go.
You two
There
get
you
well.
Yeah.
Well-
You got to show off once in a while.
There you go. Well,
Thanks for the call.
you get healed up, and we will catch up to you again. You be careful out there.
Okay.
Thank
Hey,
you for
you
the
be
call.
good, bud.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you
Con.
now.
Hey, Con. So Michelle just remember the lady that wanted the Ted Cruz sign?
Right.
Anyway, so I got her the Ted Cruz sign, but anyway, she just sent a message to me saying that there's an advertisement on ZipRecruiter by Telefund in Austin, and it says call center, help fight Trump's America, salary $10 to $16 an hour, employment type part-time. Telefund is an organization that does phone raising for progressive political and nonprofit groups.
Boy.
It's a real job being advertised to help fight Trump's America.
Yeah. Yeah.
How horrible is that? Michelle, thanks for sending that in.
Yeah, but doesn't it bring to mind just how many really, really stupid people there are out there? Trump is doing better for the United States than how many presidents previous to him. I mean, let's compare the economy, the everything under Obama to this under Trump. Make that comparison, and then tell me you're anti-Trump. What do you use for brains? It's just amazing.
Well, I want to know where the organization is that's doing this for the Republicans and the conservatives and for the Trump supporters.
I don't
Why
know.
is it just the Democrats and communists that are doing this?
Well-
Can't we be smart too?
I've got a lot of questions. For example, there is a group called the Black Lives Matter. Is there a group called White Lives Matter?
Or any other color matter?
Or Brown Lives Matter, or Yellow Lives Matter? Where are the other groups? And why is that? Why do we only have a Black Lives Matter? We got, does white people not matter? Well, a lot of folks think they don't. And a lot of folks want to destroy. Seriously, folks, there are people out there who want to get rid of white people, especially older white males. Why? I better not get off onto that tangent. I'll be here for a week. But I'm just saying there are so many examples in our society today of just lunacy, insanity. It's really discouraging to me to see and turn on the news, and it's really disturbing to me how much just pure insanity there is out there. And where's it coming from? Now, a lot of it is coming from the George Soros, Mr. Steyer type, those kind of people. But why is that? I don't understand why someone, especially like Mr. Steyer here in the United States, made millions and millions of dollars in this country and now wants to destroy the country that helped him make the millions and millions of dollars. I don't understand it. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Hello, Con.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing this morning? This is Tom and Colleen.
Yes, sir, Tom. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fairly well. I'm an old Vietnam vet. Our presidents can only serve a maximum of 8 years.
Yes.
All right. Why can't we pass a law that the Senate or the House of Representatives can only serve a certain period of time? This is the problem with the swamp, is they're so integrated into it, and they've been there for so long that they're part of the deep state.
Well,
And it's Go ahead.
Tom, I tell you a problem that we have in this country. The general public in this country does not understand under the table money. Paper sacks full of $100 bills. The general public does not understand that. And they don't understand that the more power you get, the more paper sack money you get. For example, someone on the board of directors or the school board or the college board or whatever it is, if they pass a bond issue for $200 million. Why? Why do they?
Well, because they're getting paid off on the other end.
That's what I'm saying. The general public.
Lobbyists are the crooks of our world today.
Well, and the general public does not understand under the table money. We've got 1 minute left. Then we're going to a break. Why don't you hold your thoughts and call in right after the break?
Because it's a hard break, so it's a few minutes.
Yeah, I want to hear what you got to say, but we got to go to this break.
Oh, that's no problem.
Yeah, if you would call back after one.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you. And they're trying to do just that. They're trying to eliminate the word God. I think it's in Kansas where they're trying to eliminate "In God We Trust." Someone running for senator, I think, from Kansas wants to eliminate the words "In God We Trust." So I like that thing there by old Red Skeleton because it sure does describe what we ought to be thinking about the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm kind of getting derailed here off of some of my notes. One thing I'd like to bring up is my wife reminded me of this. I'd like to give another shout out or a attaboy or whatever you want to the Glenn Beck charity. It's called Mercury One. They had people on the ground in the Carolinas and around about before the hurricane ever got close to land. They had 45 18-wheelers full of food, water, clothing, etc., ready to roll to their relief, the hurricane relief in the Carolinas. That's Glenn Beck. You know, Glenn Beck, he doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. His charity is, he doesn't keep a penny of that money. And his other charities, he has another one, the Nazarene Fund. It all goes to the needy people. It doesn't go to Glenn Beck. He is someone who, like I say, he walks the walk. Anyway, he's just a good man, and he's been very successful, and God help him. I want to mention something. I guess we got a caller. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I called back because I just heard that thing about the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
And because I grew up, in the '60s while a whole lot of stuff was going on. Folks coming back for Korea and just getting deployed to Vietnam. And I lay you odds, this is no kidding. I don't believe probably any kid over the age of 18 right now could recite the Pledge of Allegiance or know the words to the Star Spangled Banner or know the Lord's Prayer itself. And that just because I didn't end up in the penitentiary after all these years, and I've done some really crazy stuff, But, I mean, them three things right there, and, respect for God and country, that's very important in a child's upbringing. You know it?
Well, and whose fault is this, Tom?
I can't blame it on any one group except for a bunch of nitwits, whoever they are.
I'm going to blame it on my group and the group after me. Now, we got 7 kids, my wife and I do, and our kids know the things you're talking about. But
I got two sets of twins that's in their probably 30s headed for 40.
But my peer group and your peer group, we did not pass it on. I'm not talking about you and I'm talking about our group.
The whole group.
Yes, we did not teach our children.
Yeah.
We were so busy enjoying the good life and the freedom that we forgot to spread the word.
Well, until we got drafted and got shot at.
Yeah, some of us did.
Yeah, then it came right to the forefront of our minds.
Well,
actually second.
That's another thing. Most of my life I've been against the draft, but here lately I think we ought to reinstate the draft.
You bet your butt.
I think every young man and maybe women, I don't know, but because they learn things in the Army, they learn self-discipline, respect for the flag. They learn a lot of things that they're not learning now in schools.
And they learn that it takes, you got to be ready to go out there and fight and die for what you believe in, which these kids ain't being taught on the internet and in this knucklehead system they got running out there.
Well, just on the news that some group that I guess they make school books or whatever it is, but they wanted to eliminate the word hero in talking about the boys at the Alamo.
That?
Well, they wanted to praise Hillary Clinton and eliminate the word hero in reference to the boys at the Alamo.
I got choice comments on Clinton. She ought to be in a pen right now. Marion, Illinois.
but we want to make a hero out of her, and then criticize the boys that died for freedom at the Alamo. Man, don't get me started on that. Do you know, for example, who James Bonham was? Have you ever heard the story of James Bonham?
Trying to think, that was part of our Texas history, but I'm trying to remember. I mean, it's been
okay.
50 plus years.
Let me give you an example of what a true hero is. His name is James Bonham. James Bonham is the man that Colonel Travis gave the letter to take to Sam Houston to request some help at the Alamo.
Oh, yeah. That's
he gave that letter to James Bonham.
Job.
James Bonham got on his horse, and he rode through all of those Mexican soldiers and troops out there that wanted to kill him, and they all had a gun. They opened that gate, and he rode right through there, and he made it to Sam Houston to request help for the Alamo. Sam Houston said, "Hold on, boys, I can't give you any help today, but it will be in a few days." At any rate, he sent a letter back to Colonel Travis. James Bonham got back on his horse, and he rode right back to the Alamo. Now, can you imagine someone being on a horse looking at hundreds of Mexican troops with guns that want to kill you? And what did he do?
He kept going.
Well, he spurred that horse in the flanks, and he went back in the Alamo and died there.
Well, like, you remember way back when the commies got on top of the Alamo and took down the American flag and run up the red flag on May 1st, way back in the day. I mean, it's like in the 80s. I was going to diesel school just down the street, and I saw all these people up there, and I was going to school, on my VA benefits. And when I saw that red flag go up, I was trying like hell to get up there to throw somebody off that building.
Well,
but there wasn't nobody let me up there.
But somebody should have, because if you
toss them off.
I keep saying over and over, when you reward bad behavior, what do you expect to get more of? If they didn't have any punishment for those idiots doing that, then it's encouraging other people.
Mama Obama.
Yeah. Okay, Tom. we appreciate your call. You be careful out there.
Hey, take care, Con. This is Red. I'll see you later, brother.
Oh, Red. Okay. You be careful out there. All right. Back on the another interesting comment I heard today, or yesterday, I guess it was. A man named Burgess Owens. Burgess Owens has come to my attention. He is a very, very fine man. Let me say this about Burgess Owens. This week he said about the NFL protest by Kaepernick and others, he said it was a part of the globalist initiative to break down America. I'm quoting Burgess Owens. He's a retired NFL football player, a black football player, but a good American black football player. A good man that loves freedom and liberty and has brains enough to understand where it came from. At any rate, the globalist initiative to break down America. Now they're using the NFL, people like Kaepernick, to do that. Also, we got a caller. Before I get started again, caller, what are you up to, caller? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Rick.
Yeah,
Rick. Speaking of heroes, you guys know who Chris Peranto is, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, he
Benghazi, 13 hours.
Yeah, he spent 13 hours, was it?
Yes, 13 hours.
I bet it seemed like 13 days to him.
Yes. It was
But
pretty horrific.
Yeah, I saw an interview with him yesterday, and he looks like a great guy.
Well, first explain what he did, Rick.
All right. He was stationed over in Benghazi at that embassy where that ambassador was killed and all those people were killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a CIA contractor, ex-CIA. Or he was was he a SEAL when he was contracted to the CIA? He's retired.
He saved as many people as he could in that 13 hours when he was waiting for backup from the United States military, but the Obama administration had him stand down, and it all had something to do with illegal weapons transfers to the Al Qaeda and the ISIS people, and to Syria.
Well,
and anyway,
Rick, the day that happened, I said then, and I've been saying ever since, Ambassador Stevens was assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted him dead because he knew what they were doing, running guns through Libya. He knew all about that.
Pocketing
and
cash.
The powers that be have learned from Al Capone in Chicago that dead witnesses don't testify in court. So Ambassador Stevens knew too much.
Well, remember about a week or so ago, Obama came out of the woodwork and gave that ridiculous little talk where he told a bunch of lies about how he's responsible for the economy. And,
yeah.
Okay, now, during that speech, he said something about the conspiracy theories surrounding Benghazi. And that really pissed off Chris. So he tweeted something about that. I don't know the exact quote on the tweet, but he didn't say anything derogatory. He didn't cuss. He didn't. He just called Obama a liar. Basically, they suspended him from Twitter for doing that.
Well,
and he doesn't care. He had a smile on his face, and he said, "Well, I got things to do anyway. I mean, he said I don't live on social media, you know, but." It didn't bother him. I mean, he helps out training people how to defend themselves at a gun range, and you know he's really busy anyway. So it was no skin off of his back.
Hey, do you know that those boys had to pay their own way home? The government didn't even pay for them to get home.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, they wanted to keep them quiet and out of the United States.
Yeah, they sent them to Germany and left them in Germany. Wouldn't pay their way home.
Yeah, and you remember that Pat Tillman?
Yeah.
Okay, he was a football hero. You know, he was a really good football player, up and coming guy. After 9/11, he wanted to go fight for his country, so he gave up a promising career.
Millions of dollars.
He was already very famous and popular. Anyway, he went over there and he ended up guarding poppy fields. And he was wondering, why am I sitting here guarding poppy fields? So he started writing letters to his brother back in the States saying how disappointed he was. You know, he thought he was going to be over there fighting the enemy, and he's just standing around guarding poppy fields and stuff. And then all of a sudden he was killed in friendly fire, and his diary disappeared, and there's a lot of mystery surrounding that. And they even lied about his death in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, these things bug the heck out of me. And I know that we're not supposed to believe in conspiracy theories and all this stuff. But if that isn't a couple of conspiracy theories that are true, I don't know what is.
Exactly.
Well, Rick, a lot of people don't like to even utter the word conspiracy theories, but how else do you explain it? Do you think the people like George Soros and them, do you think they're all having a Sunday school prayer meeting when they get together? I don't think so. I think they're conspiring to overthrow the government of the United States of America.
And it's been going on since the beginning, because when the Founding Fathers created this representative republic, the powers that be, you know, the tyrants and all these people, they didn't like that. They were afraid that this kind of governance would spread all over the world, and that scared the heck out of them. And so from the beginning, people in our country who don't like this form of government have been doing things to try to undermine it. For instance, making the Supreme Court more powerful than it's really supposed to be. That was one of the first things that happened.
Well, but Rick, I keep asking the question: how do we, as human beings with a brain, how do we look at the leaders of the Democrat Party and people like Mr. O'Rourke and all the leaders of the Democrat Party? How do we look at what they're doing to destroy this country and then go down and vote for a Democrat?
I don't know. Okay,
how do you do that?
Before I go, first, before I say what I'm going to say, the word conspiracy theory was first created by the FBI and the CIA to, make fun of people who had theories about Kennedy's assassination. That was where that term originally came from, because they didn't like anyone questioning the assassination. They wanted the official story to be the official story that man shot him from that building, and that was all there was to it.
Well, Rick, I've said many times, and I keep saying, if you think Lee Harvey Oswald is the trigger man that killed John Kennedy, you're an idiot. Either that or you don't know anything about guns. If you think he took an Italian Carcano 6.5 and shot it twice in 3/4 of a second, you don't know anything about guns. But the nation believes what the Warren Commission said. The Warren Commission was covering up what really happened. It was a lie.
Yeah, and before I go, if we elect Beto O'Rourke, those borders are going to remain open, and we're going to have... I saw film footage from a man's ranch. He had them little cameras that you can put out in your yard and stuff for security.
The game cameras?
Yeah, like game cameras. Yeah.
It shows a bunch of military-age men in camouflage walking through his ranch from the Mexican border, with backpacks on their back in single file, with AR-57s, just walking right
drug
across.
runners. Drug mules.
And it's really scary. Anyway, I'm going to let y'all go, and I enjoy your show, and I'll try to drum up some sponsors for you if I can.
Yeah, please do, Rick.
Please do, and hurry with that, because we're almost done here.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
We got to go to break right quick. Y'all hang in there. We'll be right back. Okay, folks, I'm going to dedicate that song to me. That's just exactly the way I feel. You don't like this country, get the hell out.
Well, that's to
Okay.
the point.
Well,
Don't mince words.
I don't mince any words. I think if you don't like this country, you ought to leave it. I'm just like Merle Haggard. And we've got some people like that. They don't like this country. I think they ought to get out of here. At any rate, got to be careful getting me started. You hear so much about, now you're hearing that Donald Trump is causing hurricanes because of global warming, or his denying global warming. You know, idiots. They just had Joe Astari on the other day. Joe Astari is a meteorologist and a weather historian. He knows more about the weather and the history of weather than anybody else that I ever heard talk. And what he's saying is there are fewer hurricanes today than there were in the 30s and the 40s. The politicians are trying to blame hurricanes on Donald Trump because he's denying global warming. Well, as Joe Astari made the statement, and he's absolutely right, they're weaponizing weather. They're trying to weaponize hurricanes and the weather and blame it on Donald Trump. That's the same thing Obama did with weaponizing the IRS. But the problem is, how many of us are stupid enough to believe that trash? And there are people out there that do. They will be blaming global warming on Donald Trump. And that makes more hurricanes and is killing people and all that kind of stuff. What is so discouraging to me is, how can any blue-blooded, patriotic, freedom-loving American with a brain believe that crap? And I guess there are some people out there that do. But what do you use for brains if you believe that stuff? At any rate,
Got a phone call.
we got a phone call, and I'll shut up and let the caller. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Hello, Conn and Tina.
Hey.
Wasn't going to call in today, but when you played Red Skelton's version of the Pledge of Allegiance, and he came on the words of one nation under God, indivisible, I just had to call in because we are actually a nation in division right now, and the problem is what's called the Democratic Party, which is actually the Communist Party, and which, in my opinion, consists of basically two groups: the die-hard Marxist-Leninists who know exactly who they are and what they're doing, and then the balance of the other fools, which I would call useful idiots.
Yes.
And all their attempts to divide this country and to usurp our duly elected president, and the criminal members of the federal government that are prosecuting him, that is Mueller and Strzok and all these criminals, and that's exactly what they are. They should be prosecuted themselves.
Well, they should be, Ed, but they influence a lot of people, and that's what disturbs me. What they're doing doesn't disturb me. It's the amount of Americans that are so foolish as to fall for that crap. That's what disturbs me, and it's very discouraging when you think about how many people out there believe some of that trash without thinking about what they're hearing. It's what I was saying about sheep stampeding. You know, the liberal media and the liberal press and the people like that, and some of the university professors and things like that, they make these idiotic statements, and the people stampede just like a bunch of sheep, and they all believe it. That is scary to me, because they are trying to promote the next civil war, and they're going to get what they're trying to do, and that is very, very scary to me.
Exactly what you said. That's exactly what's happening, and it's because our country is full of a bunch of dumbed down idiots that have no common sense.
No, they don't, and another thing that I have come to realize is so much of or so many of our politicians and policymakers in legislative positions, they were raised in the city. They weren't raised in the country. And I know that some people won't understand what I'm saying, but for example, someone raised in the city does not understand overpopulation. They don't understand that if you put too many cows on a pasture, you will devastate the pasture and the cows will starve to death. Because they don't understand that, they don't understand that you cannot continue to flood America with people from other countries, Middle Eastern countries, South Central American countries. You cannot continue to flood this country with other demographics without the danger of destroying this country. They don't understand that because they don't know what overpopulation is. But they are up there making laws and don't have any idea what the unintended consequences are. But anyway, go ahead, Ed.
No, you keep telling it like it is. I'm going to jump and let somebody else talk.
Oh,
But congratulations, you hit it right on the head.
Well, we always appreciate your call, Ed, and you be careful up there in Idaho. Don't let the liberals get you surrounded.
You guys have a great day,
You
and
too.
don't let them surround you either.
Okay. Well,
Remember the Alamo,
There you
regardless of what the commie-crats say.
exactly. Remember the Alamo. Yeah, we
Adios.
need to do that. Be careful, Ed. Thank you for the call.
So do you want to do the dates for voting?
Yes.
We got another call. You're not going to get another thing in edgewise. And then don't forget, Inky wanted you to talk about the fall festival too.
Oh yeah.
So,
You gotta talk about that.
all right, people. No borders, no wall, no USA at all. You want to stop that? Last day to register to vote is October the 9th. It's around the corner.
Yeah, and that slogan by Antifa really does describe what them and a lot of Democrats like Mr. O'Rourke, that's what he wants. He wants open borders. He wants to decriminalize crossing the border illegally. Now, let's think about this for just a moment, folks. Use your brain for something besides a place to put your hat. If Mr. O'Rourke gets what he wants and we have open borders, and if the Democrats in California get what they want and give free medical care to all the illegal aliens that cross the border. Think about this, folks. If someone in Mexico or Honduras has got tuberculosis or polio or any other kind of communicable disease, what are they going to do? They're going to come here to get free medical care, and guess what they're going to bring with them? They're going to bring the communicable disease with them when they get here.
You're going to share the wealth?
Is that what the Democrats want to do to America? That's one way to destroy America. Let's flood the country with people with communicable diseases. Boy, that's a bright idea. Yeah, what are we using for brains? Shut up, Conn. Okay, we got a caller. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Hey, Conn, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm about to get all stirred up here, so a good thing you called.
Well, I called up last week. My name's Lee again.
Yes, sir.
And I wanted to ask you, not to change the subject, but did you watch the Laura Ingraham show? Did y'all see that last night?
I didn't. I was out of
I
town.
think I saw part of it, but not all of it.
Well, you know Joe Geneva?
Yeah.
Yeah. He said that James Baker, general counsel for the FBI, has been in the grand jury testifying and turning state's evidence, and he guarantees that Comey is going to be indicted. And he says that this grand jury has been speaking to a lot of people.
Well, I hope that is true, and I hope they don't get shut up or assassinated or whatever else it is. But
Or it gets stopped because we lose the election.
yeah, if we lose this election, if we elect the O'Rourke's of the world and the people like that running as Democrats, if we elect them and we lose the House of Representatives and the Senate to the Democrats, all that will stop. I mean, it will come to a screaming, grinding halt. So, what do we want in this country?
I don't know. I tell you what, when you get a grand jury together and you got the them turning state's evidence, James Baker, and Joe DeGeneva says that he knows that Comey's going to be indicted, and that's why you haven't heard from him. And then you haven't heard from Brenham. You haven't heard from a lot of these people either.
They got awful quiet real fast.
Yeah, everybody's being quiet right now. So I think there's a lot to that, and I just thought I'd bring that up, throw it in there, because last week you were giving up hope there, Conn, and just wanted to throw in you a bone so you can gnaw on.
Well, I'll chew on that one for a while. And I'm glad you brought it up. I've just got one piece of advice for the witnesses that are going to testify against Mr. Comey or Mr. Strzok or Miss Clinton. I would suggest that they go increase their life insurance so their family will have something after they're gone.
Yeah. And another thing, Sarah Carter, that reporter that's outstanding, she guarantees that those records are going to be released this week. The FISA unredacted or the redacted, papers.
Well, I hope they are, and that gives me a little bit of hope for the future. If they can get those people indicted and put in jail and gotten out of the political system, we might survive. But if
it'll change the media, because if they indict Comey, everybody's going to be talking about it.
Yes.
And I think all the media is going to switch. They just got to get that one indictment, and hopefully it'll come through. Well,
and let's hope that it does, and let's have faith that will happen. Let's have faith that there's two sides in this fight. There's God and there's Satan, and let's have faith that God will step in and help Donald Trump drain the swamp.
Absolutely.
There's my sermon for today.
Okay, y'all take care.
Well, thank you for the call, and you be careful out there.
Okay, bye-bye.
Folks, I have got to make this announcement, or else I may get a divorce or something. I don't know. In Davila, Texas, on Saturday, October the 6th, we're going to have the Fall Festival in Davila, Texas. It's going to start at 5 o'clock and run till 9 p.m. Now that is, Davila is on Farm Road 487. If you're going from Rockdale to Gerald, that's Farm Road 487. If you go to Rogers and turn at the red light, that's 437. All the major highways go to Davila, Texas on October the 6th.
And they better be, or he'll be in divorce court.
Yeah, and the only thing is, when you get there, don't blink your eyes, because if you do, you might miss it. But there is going to be fun and games. There's going to be a ring toss, a fish pond, duck pond, cakewalk, apple bobbing, beanbag toss, hayride.
Is there food?
Bounce house, petting zoo, M&M guessing game, whatever that is. There is going to be sausage wraps and pulled pork sandwiches and chips and...
Well, because I'm a little round girl. I like food.
There you go. There you go.
I got to keep the wrinkles smooth.
They're going to have all kind of stuff. There's going to be a silent auction and a raffle for a beautiful handmade Texas flag, throw quilt, handmade solid wooden bench, stained glass Texas flag gift basket, all kind of stuff. Anyway, it'll be fun for everybody.
A lot of people have put in a lot of hard work to make sure that there's stuff for everybody.
And it was very, very successful last year, and I'm sure it will be this year. Last year, you'd have thought it was Dallas, Texas, not Davila, Texas, but it was very nice, very well done.
And the crowds were calm and nice and easy to get along with.
It is a place where you can bring your children.
Safely.
And I sincerely believe that you do not have to worry about them being kidnapped or anything else. It's the kind of people there that somebody touch one of them little kids and he better wish he didn't do that. At any rate, it's a good, safe place to bring your kids and have fun, relax a little bit. Anyway, it's on October the 6th at 5 o'clock.
Okay, when we come back from break, I need to go. Everybody get your pencils ready because I'm going to give you all the dates for voting. And then we'll finish out the show.
Yeah, and I can't believe this show is nearly over.
We'll see you in a minute.
In talking about that, folks, we're going to have some more sponsors or else this show is going to end, no joke.
In about 4 weeks.
In about 4 weeks, if we don't get some more sponsors, it's going to be all over. But at any rate, we got to take a break now and pay a few bills. Y'all hang in there. We'll be right back. Okay. We hate to interrupt that old good Bob Wills music, but I think Tina's going to tell us something about when and how you can register to vote. And back to what AC said a while ago, October the 9th is the last day you can register to vote. And if you don't vote, you can't complain about what happened. And we need every good vote that we can get. Folks, the Republic is in danger. Our freedom is in danger.
Seriously, this is not just a call and just, a conspiracy or to make us stand out. It is seriously in danger.
Well, and like I just said a while ago, you think about the consequences of electing Democrats like O'Rourke that wants open borders. Think about what that means. Think about what Barack Obama said he wanted to do. He said, as a Democrat, he said he wanted to fundamentally change America. What does that mean, folks? Now, he represented the Democrat Party, and I think
still does.
Most, if not all, Democrats want to change America. Why? We're the greatest, freest, healthiest country in the history of the world, and they want to change it.
Let's keep it that way by registering to vote on October the 9th.
Yes.
You can do it online. As AC said, you can do it at the Republican headquarters. There's several other ways to do it. We posted all these on our Facebook page. So the last day to register to vote is October the 9th. The first day of early voting in person is October the 22nd. That's around the corner. The last day of early voting in person is November the 2nd. The last day to apply for a ballot by mail is October the 26th. And the last day to receive and have that ballot postmarked is November the 6th. Again, all this is outlined on the Facebook page individually and above several different articles, and we will continue to post it every week.
Now, let me clarify something here, folks. The last day to register to vote as a Republican is October the 9th. The last day to register as a Democrat to vote is October the 29th.
That's just wrong. That is just wrong. There's just nothing right about that at all. I just
had to put that in there.
You just had to make it worse, didn't you?
Well, I was born and raised a Democrat, but I'll tell you what that party stands for today.
They're so special.
Look at what they want to do. Look at Maxine Waters. Look at Dianne Feinstein. Look at the trick Dianne Feinstein just pulled about the mysterious woman who complained about Judge Kavanaugh doing something in high school. Where's the witness? Where's the crime? Where's the?
What is it that Collins is it? I don't remember what her first name is. It Jennifer Collins, Susan Collins, something that they've been sending all those terrible things to the steel coat hangers, the male genitalia, and
all this scary stuff.
Yeah, and threatening to give $100,000 or more to whoever runs against her in 2020. If she goes ahead and votes for him, just on and on and on.
Well, they're operating on fear. They're trying to spread as much emotional fear as they can. And I'm not here. I'm not here to preach against the Democrat Party, but seriously, folks, look at who the spokesman for the Democrats is.
The talking heads.
Look at the talking heads. Maxine Waters, Dianne Feinstein, people like that. Who's the number 2 man in the Democrat Party? Keith Ellison. He is a Muslim. Who is number 1 in the DNC? His name is Perez, a vulgar mouth, foul mouth
individual.
I better shut up. What I better do. At any rate, I'm just saying, we as Christians who love freedom, we need to decide whose side we're on, folks. I keep saying there ain't but 2 sides in this fight. There's God and there's Satan. There's right and there's wrong.
Okay, well,
there's
it's
light
great to
and
be
there's dark. Whose side are you on?
It's great to be Christian, but you know what? At this point, we need to be Christian crusaders. We need to crusade. We
Yes.
need to save our country.
We do. That's a good statement. We need to be Christian crusaders.
We can't be silent anymore. We have to stand up.
We need to be crusading for freedom and liberty and the American way. And those of you who think that every bad thing ever happened is the result of white men, those of you who want to destroy white manhood, masculinity, etc., heaven help us if y'all get your wish. Because if you get what you want, America will go away. And that's what they want. It shouldn't surprise anybody. That's what the liberal, progressive, left Democrats, that's what they want to do. They want America to go away.
This wasn't the color, the race, none of this, the masculinity was not an issue for anybody on this side until they made it an issue. Until they decided to make us a target, and they decided to virtually make us extinct. And the reason it's so important for them to make us extinct is because they're so afraid of us, because we do have the strength to stand up. We do have the strength to stop them, but we need to do it.
Well, they're afraid of us because they're afraid there might be some folks like us like defended the Alamo, or like started America in the first place, our founding fathers. They are afraid of people like that, because people like that is who defends liberty and freedom, and they want to destroy liberty and freedom. And I don't understand why any Judeo-Christian, freedom-loving Christian American could vote for people that want to destroy this country. And you look at their goals. What is their goal? Where do they want to take us? What do they want to do?
Power, control, money,
Power,
and subservient.
control. Yeah, they want total domination.
They want us to work and them to reap the benefits.
And let me quote Barack Obama one more time. Barack Obama said, "I want to bring 110,000 here from Syria." Hillary Clinton said, "Oh no, I want to multiply that times 550%.
Do
the math, folks.
These thoughts, these policies, these practices, even though those people are not, quote, in office anymore, they are still in use. They are still the plan.
And Barack Obama's out there campaigning right now. But I'm just saying, consider the Democrat plan to bring hundreds of thousands here from Syria. And what are they? They're the Muslim people, and there are some good Muslim people. I understand that, and we all do. But look at England. England brought 1 million of them, or whatever it was, into England, and now for every one English baby born, there are 7 Muslim babies born. Do we want to bring that here? Is that what we want? Because that is how you'll destroy this country. So, do we want to be part of the destruction of America, or do we want to defend America? That's your choice, folks. We need to make the decision of whose side we're on. As for me, well, I better shut up.
Well,
as for me and my house, we're going to stand for God.
If you all enjoy this show and like to see it continue, we certainly need some sponsors to step up, whether they be private or they be businesses that want to advertise with us. Otherwise, in about 4 weeks, the show's going to go off the air.
Yeah, we're going to go away in about 4 weeks if we don't get some financial help like sponsors. And I'm not very good at going out and finding sponsors.
Well, you and I are both working. We don't have time to do that.
Yeah, I still got to make a living. We'll see you next Saturday, folks.
Have fun.